Not even going to debate whether the brother out of Palestine existed at all, but it seems when Judas supposed to have told on the brother, what was he doing? Was he praying and meditating, or just praying and just meditating? Up under the moon is also an object of meditation. The moon is... And in silence, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be always upon us. You go across the desert at night, it gets real quiet, doesn't it? You going with the stars, man.
Yeah. That's what he was doing up in the cave.
He said, where's Muhammad? Where's Muhammad? Is he still in that cave? What is Muhammad doing in that cave?
Why they keep on calling my name?
Yes, sir.
So could we say like meditation is one of like the first spiritual practices?
Well, I don't want to say it's a first spiritual practice, but I know it's very, very ancient and very, very practical. And it's a way of that we can really get in touch with our leadership, so that a real leader tries to get you free enough and hooked up with the leader within you. So we say that leader within our own intelligence. When we say in you, we talk about intelligence. So that kingdom is within. We're about within, it's in our own intelligence. See? So we heard about, love those who hate you, bless those who curse you, do good to those who do you wrong. And we know that these versions of what they call over here of Christianity really come out of Africa. Teachings come out of Africa. All that teaching is there, whether we relate to the brother who appeared in Palestine 2,000 years ago or not. The teachings are there in Africa. All right? It's just been all corrupted and all this stuff. And we know the brother could not have been, pale skin with blue eyes, but that's a whole nother story. But the teaching, but we say that prayer is when you're talking to the Supreme, but meditation when you're listening. And so what you're doing, you're using what we call mantra or your breathing techniques, okay? Or you're just meditating on stillness itself, or meditating on space itself, or meditating on silence itself, or watching your chest rise and fall, breathing, knowing that kind of thing. But what you're doing, you're focusing on one thing, and that's keeping those other thoughts out. But we recommend, because some atheists can relate to this. Yeah. But we say those names, whether it's a Christ or Muhammad or Jesus or a Jinyami or Allah, all these different names, they sanctify, because folks have called them out so sincerely in this universe for so long.
So that would be kind of like an automatic decision.
Yeah, so it helps you to hook on up with it. So you use a name of Supreme Being, and what that does, it purifies all the negativity, at lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. That's got to come out of our consciousness. And as the consciousness is clean, it attracts like thoughts into it. But you want it to attract thoughts of the Supreme. See? Because it revolves around always thinking about Supreme. That's constant remembrance. So what's in Bhakti Yoga, we come devoted to the truth of the Supreme. So what is truth? Truth is that which liberates us from the slavery, the bondage of lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy.
That take away everything.
That gets us free.
Yeah.
So a slave can't be setting a free soul free. A person who's a slave to the senses, you call that go das. Okay, go. If you're a cow herdsman, you're dealing with cow. A go would be a cow. But in this context, go means senses, and das means servant or slave.
Oh.
So a go das is one who's a slave to the senses. That means the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the belly, the touch, or the genitals. So that's a slave. So it says one can only, a real spiritual teacher has to be one who's a Goswami. Generally one is a slave to a particular profession, but they're trying to use that profession in order to get some stuff to gratify the eye, nose, tongue, belly, genitals.
Oh, okay,
But the problem with that is that because we are not the material body, we can never get fulfillment and peace through the senses. But in the material world, everyone is promoting the eye, nose, tongue, belly, genitals. Like that's going to set you free. But it only increases your lust. See? And as long as you, it's like you become like that proverbial donkey with a carrot in front of his head. In a minute, he's gonna do it. He's gonna get it. And so you know that's insane. You keep doing the same thing the same way, expecting different results. So a yogi changes value system. This plugged into where Martin Luther King left off. You look at Martin Luther King's last book. It's one of the last, and one is in briefcase. I've seen it in his briefcase in Atlanta. One he had in Memphis, Tennessee. Huh?
Yeah, Gandhi.
Well, but not in his brief. No, I didn't see it in his briefcase. But I know he had 3 books in there. He had his this is in Memphis, Tennessee. They got his briefcase on display in Atlanta. I've seen it at least twice. It used to be open before they moved across the street. I don't know how it is now. But in his briefcase, he had his well-used Bible, the book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community, and the other one's called The Strength to Love.
Really?
What? The King did. That's one of his last books. One of the last books. He was studying out his books in the Bible. He had that in Memphis, Tennessee, in the briefcase. And the briefcase is on display in the center in Atlanta. And it used to be open, so you can look right and see his shirts and that phone and all of that stuff there in his briefcase. But the 3 books that I saw, there might have been some underneath those now. But the one that I saw, at least twice, had his well-used Bible in there. And he had Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. He did that. That was his book. He's the author of that. And The Strength to Love. And in his book, the thesis of his book, The Strength to Love, was that it's easy to hate, but it takes strength to love. That was the thing. And Where Do We Go, in the other book, is that Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. He was, in his last few pages in that book, he was saying that we had to change that value system. And we see that the value system that the world currently operates on is based on materialism. And the basis of that is that we're the material body. That's the whole materialistic value system is based on that nonsense. I mean, that foundation. I should call it nonsense, but it doesn't make it. You get deep in it, it won't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. So,
but you always teach us that we not the body.
That's the first teaching of yoga.
You can look at it, right?
You can see it. I'm looking at the body.
Anything you can look at, you are not.
There you go. You can nail it. Nail it right there. That's why we say we're not the consciousness. And we're not the awareness even. And some teachers declare that awareness is the highest point. Some say consciousness is high. You find that in TM. Maharishi Raj Yoga and them, they talk about pure consciousness. We say pure intelligence. Without intelligence, consciousness does not know what thoughts to be conscious of.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you.
Same way with awareness.
I got you on that. Cause then that way you'll be conscious of anything.
You got to have intelligence to guide it.
Discernment and intelligence to know what you need to be taking in.
So what they call God, what is called God, or what is called Allah, what is called Buddha nature, what is called Brahma, what is called Jinyami, what is called in Swahili, what's the thing, Munga. As long as we know that it's omnipresent, it's omniscient, it's omnipotent. We call it the light of divine intelligence. It's omnipresent, it's omniscient, it's omnipotent. So it pervades and transcends consciousness and awareness. It pervades and transcends the space between subatomic particles. It pervades and transcends the space between thoughts.
Yeah, that's what you were doing earlier.
It's indestructible. It's the smallest of the smallest and biggest of the biggest.
Yes,
this is why Muslims can say Allahu Akbar.
Be serious with it.
See, Allah, it's not just the Most High is great, it's a great test. In terms of adjective, it had to be superlative. If it were an adjective, but it's beyond adjectives and nouns, right? Beyond all parts of speech and within and beyond all parts of speech. Pervades and transcends all names.
One thing that most people don't catch that Muhammad and Jesus came and taught something extremely similar. So hear ye, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one.
One.
Muhammad comes in and says, Kul Wallahu, say Allah is one, say God is one.
You find the same in Upanishad. You get deep in Upanishads.
Okay, so I got that part.
Okay, the same thing is there. You find when you get deep in Upanishad, you see so many things that just about the exact same as in the Quran. about the oneness of the Most High.
And Taoism too.
Yes, sir.
Even in the Bushido.
Yeah, it's always, it's one by definition. One without a second. Right? Is that right, brother?
Yeah.
That's a one without a second then. Okay.
14 of the Quran.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, brother. Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. You're back to yoga. The next one, you convinced about this, man, you know it's working for you. And then you back it up because you got your research. You got other great teachers that feel on this earth that corroborate what you're talking about. Okay, so you move into what we call that bhakti yoga, you become devoted to it. So all that you do, all you do, you devoted to it. Now, when you're devoted to something, if you're really devoted to it, you're ready to submit everything to it. Every breath you offer to it, you're ready to offer your life to it. Totally devoted to it, so you become totally devoted to the Most High, or the Supreme Being as you now properly understand. That's Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti.
B-H-A-K-T-I. Bhakti. Okay? Now, when you got those three, you got a good grip on those three, you have the next one we call Raj Yoga. Now, these are the four main trunks of the yoga tree. There are a lot of branches and stuff on the yoga tree, but we're talking about the four main, and that's all I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with these four. So the last one is called Raj Yoga. And the foundation of this Raj Yoga is the meditation. It includes those other three, but it's the meditation. Now you got the different kinds of meditation you can do, but the main thing about the meditation is keeping those thoughts out, cleaning your consciousness up. So you don't even have a propensity to even criticize someone. Not even a propensity, because you're getting that clean. Your conscience gets so clean, man, and that's the idea. That's
like total purity.
That's what it's about, purification. It's purification of your consciousness and your awareness. You're very intelligent. You're lining up your lower intelligence with your consciousness, your awareness, the next level of that intelligence, and you're lining that up with that divine intelligence, which is the foundation of all intelligence, which is plugged in or simultaneously the same as a source. And so that's the goal of yoga, which is total union. It's a Sanskrit word, it means union. So the goal of yoga is union with the Supreme Being. Now we know in this part, in the Western country, some parts of the world, and India too, they put a lot of emphasis on Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is supposed to get your body kind of relaxed so you can get into your meditation. But Hatha Yoga is not the goal of yoga. The goal of yoga is union, oneness, getting back to oneness with your source, who has many names that are beyond all names. So those are 4 yogas I'm doing, and that's all.
How often do you think a person should meditate?
Well,
beginners, if anybody wanted to know.
Well, I think a person can start out just chanting. Chanting is when you're calling out a name of Supreme Being. And you can do this the simplest form, because you can do it all the time. When you're driving your car, you're cooking a meal. In fact, when you're cooking a meal, you ought to offer that too. That should be offered to the Most High. Everything you do should be an offering to the Most High. When you drink some water, drinking some lemonade, whatever you do, you want to be constantly remember. You don't want to be saying, wait until times get rough. Yeah. You say, oh Lord, help me, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, that's how we do white Jesus.
But that's okay. At least you do it. But I think you want to remember the Supreme in your agony and in your ecstasy. Oftentimes we try to remember the Supreme when things are rough. When we in our little ecstasy, we say, oh baby, you know, oh darling, that kind of thing.
That's one of the hardest ones, though.
Forget all about the Supreme being in your ecstasy, but you want to remember the Supreme in your agony.
Yeah. But you know, I get when that used to happen to me, I used to get a feeling of feeling bad for doing that. Why, if I was living good a month ago and I wasn't connected to you, I'm feeling bad 30 days later, and now I want to call you. Now, you know, use a credit card.
Call me all the time.
Yeah.
There's some folks, man, that's sitting next to, I heard about some people that sitting next, I've seen some videos of these brothers, They sit next to the holy rivers in India like the Ganges and just cry out the name all day long.
All day.
If someone bring them something to eat, they eat. Otherwise, they don't even eat, man.
For real.
If someone bring them some water, they'll drink. Otherwise, just cry out. Just cry. It is said that you should cry out the name of the Supreme like a baby crying for his mom.
Yeah.
They say a mother can tell when that baby is really serious, when the baby's just jiving. But that baby can cry a certain way. The mother, something wrong here for real with this guy. So they say we need to cry very sincerely.
So when
so that's the beginning. That's called mantra yoga.
When you were in Africa, how often y'all meditated when you was in Africa?
When I was over, I taught vegetarianism and this yoga. And we used to get up about 4 in the morning. I still get up. It's kind of what time is it now? It's kind of how much sleep you get. Yeah. What is time? Where's time? What time is it? Does anyone really know what time it is?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, well, there's no such being. That's like a mile. It doesn't exist. It's superimposition on now, you know. But yeah, so I know for me, I would get up and go outside, pour some cold water over my head, because it kind of shock at first, but it feels good. You're up under the stars and everything. So we start chanting there. I'm supposed to do that mantra yoga there. There's some sitting yoga because you can meditate watching the candle flame. You can meditate, with these bees. You can call out a name on every bee, like kill a prayer. You can call a prayer over and over again. What you're doing, you're stopping those thoughts from coming in because those names are holy. You cleansing your consciousness.
Yes, sir.
See, the condition of your consciousness determines the kind of thoughts it's going to attract into it. I'm not the thought. I'm the knower of the thoughts. You see, most people get all screwed up because they think they're the thought.
Yeah.
See? I'm not, but those thoughts in the universe, any thought that's out has been still out here. When it comes to the quality of your consciousness, you'll attract those thoughts in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you want to call, if you get used to getting the consciousness clean and clear, and the consciousness free from thought, that's where you want to keep it. Certain thoughts can give you bad vibrations, man.
That's the first time I heard that quality of your consciousness.
Yeah, it will attract certain thoughts. So you wanted to attract edifying thoughts in there, mainly thoughts of the Supreme.
Yes, sir.
See? And the more you think about that, cleanses even further. So the more the consciousness is clean, the awareness is clean, and it starts lining up with that Supreme Being.
Yes.
So that's the goal of yoga, so you can start taking guidance. So a real teacher, let me see, some teachers, some folks who teach, their business is to help you get in touch with the leader within you, not to be your leader. Because a real leader doesn't want anything from you, doesn't need anything from you. See?
Does he get his blessings from what
Anyhow.
Yep.
Because some of this really high, they can just sit out, man, and just vibrate into the universe, off every vibration. Because what goes around, we call it love karma. What goes around comes around. If I got some shoes on my feet that's been hurting my feet because of the way the heel is or something, it's not my business to take it to Salvation Army. My business is throw it in the garbage can and separate them. So no one else will get it. And you do that because of the cleanliness of your consciousness and your awareness, your intelligence, the cleanliness, your purity of being, man. But also, there's a bigger law out in the universe that says the law of karma. What goes around comes around. Therefore, at that point, when we can see that and accept that, it makes us stronger. So now you don't have some ubiquitous they, that got you. If it wasn't for them, I could shop better at Goodwill. But them is over there taking all the jobs and all this stuff. No, they're instruments through which my karma comes. See? Now there's no more they. I am they. We're not blaming someone else for our condition. I made it. It's up to me to save me. I am the savior I've been looking for.
Yes, sir.
I'm responsible for my condition. Another human being or animal or the climate or some other so-called condition is an instrument through which my karma comes, good or bad. However, you don't want to just do good karma. And there's some people who do good karma. They dig wells, and open orphanages and do a lot of good work in the world because they know what goes around comes around. so that good karma can come back to you in the form of material well-being.
Sure.
But the problem with that is we can get so conditioned to good karma, we start doing bad karma to maintain that level of and now you slid into that bad karma again, and you got to come back, because you have to come back and get good or bad karma. But when we submit everything to the Most High, we're putting our wealth, we're putting it into the bank where the karma can't reach it. Whether good or bad karma. Spider webs or human beings or whatever, it can't get to that, because that is deposited in the bank of the Supreme.
Yes, sir.
See? That's beyond karma. And so what happens now is what we're doing is helping us to reunite with the Supreme. All that we're doing is helping us reunite with the Supreme. So it's a whole practice. It's not just meditation, one of the instruments that we're using. But now your whole life becomes a meditation. And everything you're doing all the time. It's like you got a tractor trailer to an 18-wheeler. According to terrain, you're on your change gears. See? Sometimes you use a mantra yoga. If we at the supermarket and there's some person in front of us taking time and we're in a hurry, we want to get, now do your mantra. You stand up in line, you can do some mantra yoga. Call out the name of the supermarket. See? If you working on, you got some stuff that's been worrying you, right? And you try to go to sleep at night, you can't even hardly sleep, man. You just get up, sit up, and start meditating. Do your mantra. And just persist in it. And you find out it will gradually drive that stuff out, and the next day when you start experiencing stuff you're so worried about the night before, you find it's not nothing like you thought it was going to be.
It doesn't even exist in the first place.
Yeah, those thoughts will keep you up. So we say some entertainers, these people get on these stages, man, they get all blown up and be all puffed up, man. And oftentimes it's hard for them to get to sleep. But if you know how to meditate, you can unwind. You use a breathing technique, call out the name, meditate on silence itself. Just focus, and see, meditating on silence, and when you just sit there and listen to silence. Just like you listen to music. You listen to some John Coltrane or some, Bud Powell or some of them, you watching the sound.
That's grown folk music.
Huh?
That's grown folk music. You don't know nothing about that.
Jazz is your music. Jazz is your music. And you don't watch it if someone would have stolen it from you, try to water it down and sell it back. Like you listen to jazz, you sit there and listen to silence. Mm-hmm. And see, if the thought try to persist, you focus more on the silence. That's all you do with your mantra. You sitting in those thoughts trying to get in there, trying to get in your consciousness. If you let them in there, they'll get in there and just crowd up your car and make all that noise. You can't sleep, you can't get worried or a mess. You're a nervous wreck. Because of those thoughts. But the thoughts are not me. I'm the knower of the thoughts. No, I'm the watcher. I see it coming. If I couldn't see them, I'd have to be them. But I see them. If I see them, I'm not it. They change. I don't change. I'm always steady. I'm always here. Because now I'm plugged in with that changeless source of all being. That omnipresence. Where can omnipresence go? It's already everywhere. So we need to know history. That's all the history. The European history, African history, Asian history, the world history. And we need our spirituality. And the reason we have so much violence in our cities and certain communities because the people don't know the greatness from which they've fallen. Don't know that history. And don't know that spirituality. And that's the key. That's the missing ingredient. That's the missing key. So if anyone's trying to fix this stuff, but they're not going to the cause of it, we don't fix the cause. We're always dealing with effects, and we never solve the problem. We got to go to the cause of it. And it's out there. Go deeper, you see, we identify with being a material body. And we're not that. And no matter how much sense gratification, whether it's an eye, nose, tongue, belly, general sense of hearing or whatever, these people driving around with the noise so high in the car, that it's rattling the window. What do they think? Well, let me turn it a little higher. I can enjoy it more. And pretty soon they got no ears. Got no eardrums, right? Because, hey, brother, because now they're tearing it up. It's just like they want to eat some more hot dogs. But in economics, when you eat so much, you pretty soon don't want that food. It's a level of diminishing marginal utility. Huh? So we're trying to gratify the flesh, trying to get enjoyment externally, when the real enjoyment is within. There's unlimited bliss, unlimited tranquility. That's the nature of the self. The nature of the self is bliss. But we don't know that. We think that it's material body. It's within. It's bliss. It's vibratory bliss. This bliss is so thick that you can... Yes, Sat Chit Ananda, yeah. Ananda means bliss. Sat is eternal knowledge, right? Sat Chit, eternal. Sat Chit, knowledge. Ananda, bliss. See, that's the nature of the self. This is why we want to be happy. Because the nature of the real self is bliss. Ecstatic bliss. I mean, it's vibratory. Some call it kundalini. Some try to make it rise automatically. Some of us, it just happens. But it vibrates every pore in your body. It just vibrates in bliss. And it's throughout the universe. You feel the whole universal thing. From the earth to the skies. And it's you. It's yours. It's your thing. And we don't want to be ignorant because the nature itself is unlimited knowledge. That's what we know omniscience. Unlimited intelligence. That's why we don't want to be ignorant. We don't want to be called stupid. That's not us. We don't want to die because the self is eternal. But we don't know the self, and that's not taught in most educational institutions in the world, especially in the Western country. It's not taught. And it has to be for everyone. If we want to be selfishly racist, we cannot get into this higher knowledge. So we don't have to worry about folks. Oh, they can hear. Anyone can hear this. What I'm saying can benefit everyone. And they can do that research and find out it's true. And I'm speaking like this because I know anyone can hear this. If you're military, if the brothers in the military can meditate, it would benefit them. If you're police officers, you're firefighters, people in these first line jobs, if they knew how to unwind, and a lot of our first line people are alcoholics. Some of us have talked with policemen who are hard to get along with at home with their wife because they're so wound up they want to drink, and they're making it worse on all of us, see? But they knew how to unwind, knew how to meditate, become quiet and still inside. And that's our natural condition. Peace is our natural condition. We cannot make peace. Peace is always here. Peace is indestructible, eternal. That's the nature of the self. That's why we want peace. That's us. Like in our ignorance, we think we can make love because we're having sex. That's ignorance. That's lust. Lust is the reason, one of the major things that puts us in bondage. From lust comes anger and greed. From greed, anger and greed, it comes illusion, madness, and envy. Those make us do crazy things. We wake up regretting the next day what we did last night because we were overwhelmed with lust as intoxicant. Like anger is an intoxicant. Greed is an intoxicant. We smell it with our nose. I remember when that tastes so good.
I can't wait to get greedy.
We can't. And those are things that enslave us. Therefore, we say, how can someone come to me, a slave, and tell me, now you're free, so you got this. And it's a slave himself. How can someone bound up to a chair, help someone bound to a chair on the other side of the room get someone free? Slave, only the unbound can get the bounded unbounded. The bounded cannot help someone bound get unbound. Make sure she gets this. Sister, if what we're saying doesn't correspond, is not harmonious with your reason and common sense, throw it out. Don't accept it.
Yes, sir.
If I said it, don't accept it. Make sure it corresponds with your reason and your common sense. Otherwise, throw it out. Throw it in the trash bin. Put it in the garbage can. Don't believe it, sister, till you check it out with yourself. You feel not. Truth, you ought to be able to deconstruct it, reconstruct it, analyze every little piece of it, put it back together and make perfect sense again. You can't reconstruct it, you don't know what you're talking about. And we say this is scientific, just like mathematics. You can deconstruct it in a very systematic manner. Analyze every part of that thing, man. But as teachers, we should know, just because I know my math, because I teach it every day, I still got to be aware that there's a student that just that stuff. Mine is jumping all out the window and stuff. It's hard to them. But math is something you can practice. It's a very mechanical thing. Now, when you tap into that divine intelligence, you're going to be a better
math.
Yes, sir. When you look at what these folks are doing right now in the material world, you look at some of these planes. And, we used to fly on some of these planes, man. But it got, it's like a football field inside some of these big planes. And you see them, these things, they can figure out how to get them to fly across the sky. And most of these folks, what can they do if they're tapping into divine intelligence consciously? What kind of things can we get to fly across the sky?
Design.
That's what the ancestors used to be doing, man. Yeah. So it's crucial that we tap into our divine intelligence, and we're not telling everyone to change. You don't have to change your religion. It's not about religion. We talk spirituality here.
So what we say, you have to be a little part of all of them, but a big part of none of them.
Thank you, sir.
In order to get it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
To get this thing done, like you said, the names of God, the names of Allah, Chukwu, Nkulunkulu, Olodumare, or whatever name you want to call it, it has to be associated with that higher source.
Yeah.
To get that divine knowledge and that divine awareness and that union with that. Now on the opposite side, we can show you exactly how it don't work. The spooky man out there singing these rap songs saying I'm a B, I'm an H, I'm a dog, I'm a killer.
He's gonna stay in hell. He stays in hell.
And then they continue to become that. And then they can't get out of it because they told themselves subconsciously, told many times that that's what they are. So now they can't figure out that that's not who they are.
You get tangled up in more in suffering. Those tangled up in suffering, man. And they don't know the history, so they don't know the greatness from which they've come. See, not just ancestral, but I'm talking about that divine intelligence. That's our source, beyond the ancestors. So we don't worship ancestors. You worship the Supreme. Why you gotta worship anything else?
That's where we come from.
You water the root of the tree. Why you gotta water every tree, every twig, every flower, every apple on the tree? Put the water at the root. In fact, what you can do is make a little sauce around the base of the tree and put your water right there. So we don't have to worship ancestors. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship the Most High come to the Most High.
I mean, that's it.
So we worship the Most High with everything we got. Everything. All your consciousness, all your intelligence, all your awareness, everything. All that you do, all that you offer, you do it is worship, offering, submission to the Most High. We come back to the Most High. Because we get on that ancestral level, we back on the physical level anyhow. At a certain point, you know, I am the ancestors.
That one out loud, yeah.
So now you're worshiping the supreme being of your ancestors. It's one thing to go back to the country of your ancestors, but how about finding out how your ancestors worship? This is where we come from. That's why we say that all those holy books, man, it's not being racist, not being bigoted, brother. Those who do the research, they know South Indians come out of East Africa. All that stuff, Upper Nile Valley civilization, brother.
You know, they
can get bitched off if they want to, because some folks get angry about it. Let them do that research and prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
To a certain extent, you know, brother, some of them can't. They may skip over it, but in the Quran it says Allah tells us to not make any distinction between any of the prophets.
That's right.
Not now one of them. So why would I be a Muslim that doesn't own the Bhagavad Gita? Why would I be a Muslim that doesn't own the Bible?
Now you're talking like a Sufi.
Doesn't own these books.
Now you're talking like a shut up. You are so Sufi. This is the
all the
Sufi.
prophets came with the truth.
Yes, sir.
You know,
so you get
we
the
just
best of all of them.
misunderstood and then divided ourselves into groups who understand it and don't understand it and don't understand it even more, and nobody can come back together because they can't see that all these prophets came with the exact same thing.
It's about union.
Oneness.
Only those of ignorance preach division. Preach unity, man, because the real self is beyond races, creeds, colors, nationalities, castes, and all the rest of that nonsense. All that's on the physical level.
Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, what? They can't be cut by a sword.
That's right. Wetted by the wind, or dry by the wind, or wetted by water, dry by the wind.
Hear about meditation now? They think it's something new.
Oh no, meditation old as the hills, man. Old as the hill. And then if we're not even going to debate whether the brother out of Palestine existed at all, but it seems when Judas supposed to have told on the brother, what was he doing? Was he praying and meditating, or just praying and just meditating? About the moon is also an object of meditation. The moon is. And in silence, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be always upon us. You go across the desert at night, it gets real quiet there. You going with the stars, man.
Yeah. That's what he was doing up in the cave.
He said, where's Muhammad? Where's Muhammad? Is he still in that cave? What is Muhammad doing in that cave?
That's what the lie I said a couple weeks ago. Yeah. That's right. That's synchronistic. That's right, bro.
But to pull it together, man, it's kind of put it on together, man. But we got this. We have infinitely more in common than we have in difference, regardless of all these superficial differences we relating to. It's ignorance, man. And that's why we don't have any satisfaction. We constantly running after another material thing. I got this diamond ring. Now I'm used to it. I got this Cadillac. Now the novelist one. I'm just driving a Cadillac. Now I got this sex partner. We did everything in the book. I'm still not satisfied. And plus the novelty is worn off.
You know, that's why a lot of rich people say that they get consciousness after they have had everything and they realize that they ain't really got it.
And a lot of them start going within. Because out here in the transcendental world, there are a lot of sisters and brothers out here who come from backgrounds and folks, they had everything that money could buy. And I've talked with some of them. And they tell me pitifully, man, I've had everything that money can buy. And start rattling it off to you, man. And they have a home sitting in Beverly on a hill in Beverly Hills, high manicured grass that they don't want to go back to.
Mean nothing.
Yeah, you ain't got no happiness in there.
But you don't think though that sometimes the divine creator sometimes will give you everything so you will know
that's your karma. That's called your karma. But just because a person has money, has material wealth, it's if you use that material wealth for righteousness' sake, you can attain this goal. But we trying to use it for unrighteous things, you know, and trying to deprive people of food, clothing, shelter, health, education, security, and that. Then we using it wrong, man. And we got to come back and pick up that ticket. We got little babies out there because of our greed. We got little babies with distended bellies and flies in their eyes. You're looking at yourself in the future. You reap what you sow. See? But nothing wrong with having money, lots of money. What you using it for? If you using that money to get closer to the Most High, brother, and try to bring in and make it so that others can get closer to the Most High, why not have a big, beautiful mosque like the one in Tuba?
I mean, I'm just gonna bring everybody back to their
You help people get back to the Most High. But if you're using it just for your greed and your lust, we'll hog up all the gold, you know.
I got it all.
I got it by myself. You get the most expensive oil paintings and things, and you got an old safe in your house, so you can lock them up. You can go in there by yourself and look at it. Or you got all kind of automobile for what? Now, if you use those automobiles to get close to Supreme or help someone get to Supreme, well, nothing wrong with that. That's helping you.
Sir.
Right? If you use them just because your greed, boy, you got some bad karma to pick up. So we responsible for our condition. See? We reap what we have sown. That's the law of karma. That's the big law out here in the universe. And some of us see that really is what's going on out here too. Yeah. Yeah. So help somebody. That's why a person like Martin Luther King was one of the reasons why Martin Luther King could have been said, if I can help somebody, as I go along, if I can cheer someone with a word or song, then my living has not been in vain.
Why they keep on calling my name?